Hi, it's Miriam Yerushalmi. Glad you're ready to take the next step towards real bonding. In a previous session, we spoke about some underlying reasons why one has formulated a low opinion of self, which really gets in our way to bonding truly. We know that if in our childhood we receive negativity about ourselves, it could have left us with a negative imprint, and we store these ideas actually, and then synthesize them with our own negative ideas about ourselves. One can think, who knows better than myself about what I'm really all about? But really, it's a mistake. The idea of self is the product of all the input one received over our lifetime. Typically, the child does not differentiate between parental labeling and the good qualities that they really possess. Instead, what typically happens is the child accepts the erroneous values as face value. This is called conditioning. After repeated bombardment of negative feedback, the child's perceptions of himself or herself is not objective nor rational. Rather, the product of his conditioning from one's past, which may very well be distorted. As if the parents brainwashed the child of their own capabilities. Again, instead of dismissing such negativity, the child sees themselves as inadequate and then has a negative view of self. The person with this type of distorted view can become very handicapped, as he or she will feel so insecure and unqualified then to really be free to connect to another, even to one's own soulmate and children. Especially if that partner is also bombarding them with similar negative feedback. And so the cycle of negativity continues, festers, until the soul bleeds. One needs to take a stand and stop condoning oneself. One can't become a hostage to one's own limited beliefs about oneself. The lack of support may have totally impacted your psyche. This past conditioning may be the source of all of your low self-image. You trusted and believed what others had said about you. For some reason, it was so easy for all these erroneous words and views to be seen as valid. Their magnified view of your inadequacies somehow made their way into your belief system. And this vicious cycle of feeling deficient was set in tone. We really got to nurture ourselves, bringing positive input and synthesize it into our inner being. We need to stop the vicious cycle of selling ourselves short of who we truly are and who we are truly capable of becoming. Never underestimating one's true value and capability. We have to not let the slanted viewpoint taint the true essence of goodness of who we are. The inner voice is unreliable, coming from a warped opinion that cannot be trusted. We have to try our best to hold strong. Just as a person was raised with fault-finding personalities, meaning people who continuously were finding fault with everything that we did, we need to take the steps to stop the negative cycle and become a virtue finder. A person who finds the goodness and virtue in others and really get in the habit of becoming this type of wholesome person. No more being critical and vindictive and unforgiving, because when you're really forgiving of yourself, that will pave the way for you to be the same for the other. We have to realize that no one can hurt ourselves without our own consent. So the question is asked, how? Really, this move on your part to really bond with the people around you, especially your spouse, is the next most important task at hand. It really affects all of your being. But it's the question of how, with everything that we have gone through in our past. And removing this conditioning is not so easy, but it's not impossible. One would ask, how can I bond with this spouse when they don't give me the time of day? And even when they do give me a chance, and I do make the effort, soon after, the rejection comes right into the picture. A lot of people that I counsel say the same thing. They say, I'd rather be alone than suffer the rejection. How can I try and make that effort, make those first steps, rise above whatever is going on, and then soon after get rejected? So many people can't handle it anymore. They say they rather feel safe than sorry. They can't handle the pain anymore. Does this all sound a bit or all too familiar? You know, it was one thing when you were a child and there was so much pain from rejection. But to have to go through it in your own home is too much to bear. And it's unfortunately so prevalent. Well, the first step is to really have empathy for the people around you that have no clue about how special you are, that you do have deep feelings, and that you do have such a gift from Hashem, because each neshama is so precious and so special. And even though a person may be very sensitive and doesn't want to have to deal with the rejection, that sensitivity in the person is what really makes the person so special. And even though some people around us can't really come to understanding, that's where it can be very lonely for the person. It's like a person can really feel literally like they're in a different human race. I tell people when they see the behavior around them, and instead of like getting the sense of rejection, have that mindset of, at least in that way, I'm not like them, and be thankful that you have a more sensitive soul. Once you get this ingrained into your psyche, then you'll free yourself to be able to really bond with the other. You'll have the ability not to take personally what they're doing. once you've really cleansed yourself from taking personally what people are doing or not doing for you, then you can really begin to unleash the potential within you. This potential of being able to love another unconditionally. So by cleansing your thoughts about how they aren't at the level of your expectations, you can be free. You can even ask yourself, are you where you want to be? With your relationship with your children, with your relationship to God. So that will ease your disappointment in them, because really all of us are going through a process of transformation and elevation. Some have way more than others, but that's in God's hands. Why one has more fixing to do than the other. This mental cleanse, this new fresh way of looking at the other makes room for them. I was once at a Shabbaton, and Rabbi Label Wolf actually was talking about how it seems that so unfair that the people that share the same home, that are dedicated more to one another than the neighbors or the mailman, and yet those are the ones who seem to get the brunt of our negative side. And it really should be the opposite, if anything. The mailman doesn't work hard and bring the money into the home. The husband does. So, after analyzing it, it was clear. The people we're most dedicated to are the ones we really expect some form of respect back for everything that we do for them. And then when we don't have that reciprocated, we feel more disappointed, and then our buttons are so much more easily triggered. So we see that that's the weak point within us. And if we remove our expectations of wanting to receive back, then it'll be easier for us not to so easily be tempted to react back and then distance ourselves from them, and then therefore not take the proper steps to really bond with them. Just like a mother's belly expands to make room for the fetus, as our brain expands with these new outlooks, our mind can make room and accept the other the way they are. And that's when the real bond to the other begins. Literally accepting them as they are. Of course, we're hopeful at the same time, and definitely look forward to the person they will eventually become, just like we're hopeful for ourselves. Remember that moment, maybe back in elementary school, when that first friend made the effort to show you how much she liked you and how that triggered within you like a great feeling, and then literally motivated you toward liking her back. So here, we can use the same tactic. Making the efforts at all costs to show the other how much we want to be with them, how much we want to bond with them, how much we, quote unquote, like them, even if at the moment it's not so easy with everything that they have disappointed you with. But what we can do is make everyone around us feel special. And when we radiate that feeling toward them, then it definitely has its impact. Might not overnight make them be more drawn to you, but it definitely has its impact. One may ask, can I just decide to live a separate life, be on the safe side, not be so vulnerable, by keeping my distance? Well, if you do that, unfortunately, everyone around you, including your children, as well as your husband, will feel that coldness. It'll be stifling. The energy will be felt. And it would barricade you and everyone around you in the house into such separateness. The warmth children see between husband and wife forms the basis of the children's future capabilities to build healthy bonds with their future relationships. In reality, we really have to see this not as a burden to be that lamp lighter, to be that warm and ready to bond personality, but as our absolute privilege to be gifted as a provider of love. Because we really have the power to bring out the light in all of our family members when we ourselves take the steps to bond. So bonding with your spouse is the best start. Make efforts to show how important they are to you. Spend quality time as best you can. Even if there will be times, and in the beginning it may be more than you would like, where they will reject your offer. Maybe invite them to take small walks, or go out, once a week, or minimally once a month. And by the way, who says dating has to stay, in your engagement period? You can continue dating while being married with your spouse. Definitely learning together is a must. Because when you learn together, the melding of the two souls from the fiery words of Torah takes place. Pick up hobbies. Do things together, even if it's not a hobby you would choose, even if it's what the other would choose. It won't hurt. Definitely many vacations. Who doesn't want that? But whatever which way, be creative. And don't get too bogged down by rigid schedules. Because investing now not only gives you a better day-to-day, but definitely gives you future dividends. Because think about it. One day, it will be back to just you and your spouse. I bless you. Please, God, we have the strength to move away from the erroneous views of our past, to clear the air in our psyche with this new mindset, with this new outlook. step by step, you are going to get there. Hashem has full faith in you and is giving you everything you need to make it happen. My blessings are to you.